culture, fashion and craft.
Hi guys, you're welcome to my channel. If you're new here, you're welcome. My name is Oti. I create content on sewing tutorials and turban cap. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. I really appreciate you for sticking around. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing us on how to make a bubu dress with a simple design in front, just like you saw on my thumbnail. It is very easy to make. The fabric that I'll be using is a direct fabric, and I'll be using this plain cotton to form the design in front. I'm cutting the front and the back bodies together, so I'll be folding the fabric into four. I folded my fabric into four, as you can see. So I'm going to rule my starting line. The measurement is 18 inches divided by 2 is 9 inches. I'll be making use of neck width of 4 inches. The same neck width for the front and the back. Shoulder to my chest line. Shoulder to my chest line is 10 inches. Shoulder to my waist is 18 inches. Shoulder to my hip line is 25 inches. Then the length of my dress, I'll be making use of 63 inches plus hemming allowance. So I'm going to rule out the measurements. This is my center front and my center back. So I'm going to measure 20 inches for my sleeve length. From these 20 inches, I'm going to measure 1.5 inches downward for my shoulder slope. So I'm going to connect from this 1.5 inches, I'm going to connect it straight to my neck width. For my sleeve opening, I'm going to make use of 9 inches, which is here. To my waist is 18 inches. So at my waistline, I'm going to impute my waist measurement. My waist measurement is 40 inches. 40 inches divided by 4 is 10 inches. I'm going to be adding 3 inches seam allowance because I want it to be very free on me. So I'll be adding 3 inches seam allowance. Next is to move to my hip line. My hip measurement is 51 inches. 51 divided by 4 is 12.75. This is 12.75. I'm going to be adding 3 inches to my hip measurement. So I'm going to measure what I have. I have 15.75. I'm going to impute this 15.75. I'm going to impute the same measurement at the lower part of my dress. The same measurement that I have on my hip line, I'm going to impute it at the lower part of my dress. So with a straight ruler, I'm going to connect from the hip straight to the lower part of my dress. This is my sleeve opening. I'll come in by 2 inches. Then from the 2 inches, I'll start covering it to my waist. Then from my waist, I'll curve it to my hip, like so. Then from my hip, straight down to the lower part of the dress. I'm making use of neck width 4 inches. The same neck width for the front and the back. Neck depth for the back, I'm making use of 1 inch. I'm going to add seam allowance to the neckline before I cut it out. I'm going to add half an inch seam allowance to the neckline before I cut it out. So the next thing to do is to cut it out. This is the back neckline. I'm cutting the back neckline first. This is the back neckline. The shoulder slope. I'm going to remove the back and continue with the front. I'm going to be using this piece to illustrate what I did to the front bodies. My camera stopped, I didn't know. This is a neck width, 4 inches neck width. Then from my shoulder, I measure down 10 inches. I'm going to use 7 inches to illustrate because this piece of fabric is not up to the length of the neckline that I use. Then at that 10 inches, I measured 0.75, that's 3/4 of an inch inward, like so. Then I connected from my neck width to the 3/4 of an inch with a straight ruler. Then I cut it out like so. Then I have this. this is how I cut for my front bodies. Then afterwards I join the front and the back bodies together at the shoulder. So I'm going to measure round the neckline. From this angle, I'm going to start measuring from this angle. I'm going to measure the neckline round and stop at this angle. So I'll measure it. I have 32.5 inches, but I'm going to add extra 3 inches to it. I'm going to cut out 35.5 inches. It is better to have excess fabric, then you will cut it out, than to have shortage. So I'm going to cut out 35.5 inches. I'm going to put this aside. I'm going to measure the length 35.5 inches. I have 36 here. I'm going to leave it like so by 5 inches. Whatever your neckline is, add 3 inches to it by 5 inches. 5 inches. So the next thing to do, I'm going to iron interfacing at the wrong side of the fabric. Then I'm going to fold it this way and give it a good press. I've ironed interfacing, as you can see. So the next thing to do, I'm going to fold it into two this way and notch the midpoints. So the next thing to do, I'm going to place this notch part to the midpoint of the back. This is the midpoint from the crease line. I know the midpoint, so I'm going to place it like so. I'm going to pin it round the neckline. After pinning the band to the neckline, so the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take to my sewing machine. I'm going to sew half an inch round the neckline. After that, I'm going to notch it as well. Then I will show us the next step to take. At this sharp edge, I will notch it like so. I'll do the same thing on this other side. then you have something like this. So after that, the next thing to do, I'm going to first of all take one side of the band, I'll push it to the wrong side of the fabric, and I'll take the other band and push it to the wrong side of the fabric. Then I will turn the fabric to the wrong side. So I'm going to take to my sewing machine. I'm going to stitch from one notch part to the other. Then I'm going to trim out the excess fabric. I've sewn it from one notch part to the other. Then the next thing to do, I'm going to trim out this excess fabric. I've sewn it. As you can see, this is what the front looks like. So the next thing to do, I'm going to cut out another shape to beautify the front further. So with this leftover fabric, I'm going to cut out a square shape or any shape of your choice. At this stage, you just have to be creative. There's no particular way of drawing the shape. You can decide to do any shape of your choice, either square, triangular shape, or even circle. So I'm going to take this aside. This is where your creativity will come in place. I have fabric of, this is 24 inches by 17 inches. 24 inches by 17 inches. There's no standard measurement of doing this. You just have to be creative. So I'm thinking of what to do. I want to do kind of a V shape. Like I said, there's no standard design. You can be creative. Just trying to be creative. Let me measure about 5 inches, the lower part 5 inches. Then I'll draw a V, maybe 5 inches. Let's see how this will come out. I think this side is too wide. going to reduce the side. Just like I said, you can decide to be creative. There's no particular design. You can decide to be creative. You can decide to make this side curve or slanted. You can just decide to be creative. I don't know if I should reduce this side. Let me reduce it a little. I think I'm okay with this design. I'm okay with this design. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to iron interfacing to the wrong side of the fabric. After that, I'm going to fold the edges inward with half an inch. I'm going to fold this side inward. I will fold this inward, the lower part and this side. I'm going to fold them inward with half an inch. Let me quickly iron interfacing and show us the next step to take. I've ironed interfacing, as you can see. I folded half an inch on all the edges. Then the next thing to do, I'm going to place it like so. I've pinned it down, as you can see. Make sure that you pin yours down before you take to your sewing machine to sew it. So the next thing to do, I'll take to my sewing machine. I'm going to sew at the edges, close to the edge, a straight stitch. I've sewn it, as you can see. I've sewn it, as you can see. So the next thing to do, I'm going to hem the sleeve opening. I'm going to fold it twice. After that, I'm going to join the sides together. I'm going to hem the lower parts and I'm going to show us the final look. This is the final outcome of today's tutorial. As you can see, it is very easy to make. This is the back view. If you have any question regarding today's tutorial, drop it down in the comment section. Do you like my headband? If you also want me to create a tutorial on how I make my headband, drop it in the comment section as well. If you've not subscribed to my channel yet, please hit the red button down below to subscribe to my channel for more content like this. And also click on the notification bell beside the subscribe button so that whenever I upload a new video, you will be notified. Until I come your way next, please stay safe and remain blessed. Love you all. Bye.